Happy Tuesday. It's a nice gray, rainy day today. Next project, we actually haven't finished the camper topper. Working on that later today. Once the rain stops, gotta do some sanding of fiberglass and to get that top connected with the cut marks that I made. And that's gonna be a cool project. It's all done for the Tundra. But right now we're working on this trailer that I picked up yesterday. For like 600 bucks, so it's like 5 by 12 or something like that, I think. And it's a little rusty, which is going to be an awesome little challenge for surface conditioning tool. So we'll get this all set up. I'm going to expand it a little bit. I think I'm going to bring the frame out a bit. I'm going to get rid of all this wood here, replace the base, and redo the wiring. Probably paint the wheels. I'm not too concerned about them. I might replace some of the missing lug nuts. So funny. Anyways, it's gonna be fun. But I love the size of these C-channels here, so this will be good. Once we get it all done, it'll be a great little steel pickup trailer, but also good for moving stuff around, and it'll be awesome for our Colorado property eventually. Here we go, let's get on it. Doing here is pulling off all these boards, and fortunately it looks like there's just a whole flat load of carriage and lug bolts in there, so that should come apart pretty quickly, but let's get at it. Let me get all these panels off and we can work on that floor. Once that's all off, I'm gonna sand down the entire frame with my surface conditioning tool, get all that rust off, get some primer on there, hit it with some rust converter in areas that I can't sand down, and get some rust paint on there. Rewire it. Actually, I'm gonna extend out the bed a little bit to the sides, probably out as far as the wheels. I just have a bit more room in front of and behind the wheel. It's already got a nice fender on there, so I'll just box around it. And then I don't want the wood sides, I want railings, so I think they'll be easier to tie into for support and strapping. And although this is great for putting like small things into that might spill out, but that's not really why I've got a trailer, not for things like that. So anyways, let me get those sides off and we'll be back. Well, at least this is gonna stick together nicely from the nails and screws that are in it. So not the best floor system, but that's fine. We're replacing all these boards anyways. Love these tools here for getting stuff out. This impact driver is amazing. Oh my gosh. Never realized how good those were until I had one. And then obviously this impact wrench is supremely powerful. So a couple bolts I can't get out, but I'm realizing this fender is screwed in up here, a couple bolts as well, so I'll pull that out, and then if I can get my drivers in there, I can get in there with an extension, I'm sure, and then it'll actually make it a lot easier to clean these off anyway. So let's get those off, and then I can start pulling these sides apart, and because they're almost ready to come out, but that fender's holding a couple boards in there. Starting to look like we're getting somewhere. We've got a bunch of carriage bolts underneath it here, so we're gonna underneath, I think, what's this, 12 millimeter, that seems to be fitting on the nuts on the inside, so we'll zip those off, get those side supports off, and then I think I got most of the screws out, but these boards seem to be pretty settled in there, so I think probably what's happened is there's some screws in here that have just been covered over with crud, so figure them out. Either cut them out or pry them out. We'll get them. Here we go. Let's start this cleaning process. We've got the trailer all done up. I'm going to extend this out a little bit to the side, I think, and then build some extension tubes. They're going to come out maybe half a foot on each side, and get some railings on there. I'm not exactly sure what steel I'm going to use yet. This looks like 3/16 inch C-channel, so that's pretty nice. It's like 6 inch or so. So pretty solid construction, rusty. But let's get at it. Should be good. Hopefully the axle is strong and doesn't cause me any issues. If it does, then I wasted $600, but if it isn't, then I like the project. So yeah, let's clean this up and make it work. What? Oh my gosh, it's looking completely different. So got all the wood off. I've sanded down pretty much everything, gotten the rust off. I don't know what kind of paint this is, but it is, I wish the whole thing was painted with that. It's pretty awesome. Got the comb brush on the drill as well as the surface conditioning tool there, and got through all the nooks and crannies. The one thing I haven't done is get underneath the rake here, so I gotta get up underneath it. I almost think I could probably flip this thing upside down, but I don't want to hurt myself. But I think I could do that, so we'll find out. I think I'll put one of these wheels back on and see if I can't tip this whole rig over on its side and then do it, because I really don't feel like laying on the ground with sander, surface conditioning tool, or comb brush up over my head doing this, because that's gonna suck. So once this is all done, I will figure out the bottom side of this, and then I'm going to take some of this rust converter, which I've already got on the wheels here. So I put that all sprayed in around there. I'm going to let that dry and then buzz that off with the comb brush as well. But I've got this rust converter stuff here, which is pretty awesome, and prepares rusty surfaces for painting. So it's almost creates a primer effect on the metal. So I think what I'm going to do is get a brush and a little dish, pour that in there. I've sprayed it on the wheels, but I'm going to paint it on every nook and cranny of the frame, and then clean that all off eventually. Maybe just a quick scuff to get the surface off, and then I'm going to paint the whole thing with some rusty metal Rust-Oleum primer. It's kind of a brown color. And then once that's dried out, I will sand off the areas that I think, if I'm going to go that route, to widen this deal out. And then what I'm going to do is get some paint on it, and hopefully the axle is going to be strong enough. I think it's going to be, but we'll find out. I've got a big heavy piano to move up to Colorado at some point in time, so I want to make sure it's not going to fall apart on me. Anyways, continuing on. Well, this is coming along pretty nice. I put it in the garage because it's starting to rain a little bit. But I've got all this rust converter on it, and it's starting to convert the rust over to an iron phosphate, I think. And it's looking pretty good. I started working on the outside of the fenders here and the wheels, as you can see. And I started on the back. And then I thought, you know what? I'm just going to wait till this kind of dries overnight. And then I think, that's a lot of crud in there. Gross. Get that out of there. And I figure I'll just wait till tomorrow. Get it finished off then. Although I've got the second gen here, waiting for some powder coating of bumpers and rock sliders. And I think they're going to be ready tomorrow or the next day. So jump on that. And then I'm got some DOM tubing here, and I'm making some rock sliders for a GX that's coming in from Florida in April, but I want to get a jump on those. So I think I'll let this dry today and hit it tomorrow morning. I do need to do a little welding. This is the only weld I found that sucks on this trailer. Everything else is really solid. That one's not good. So I will be patching that. Where is it? Be patching that sucker. And then I think I might, looks like they've got a little angle 1/4 inch steel on this axle, and I think I might put some more on there. See what I've got. Beef it up a smidge. Anyways, coming along, a lot of sanding today. That's a lot of work, but the size of these side channels would indicate to me that it's worth it because these things are huge. And I think this is going to be a pretty strong trailer once it's all gotten together. And I'm kind of curious as to see how I'm going to come up with the decking for it. How I expand it out. I want to widen it just a little bit, but not too much. I think it's a little over 4.5 feet with those wooden boards on it, the inside measurement. That's too small for me. But I don't want something that's like 7 feet wide, so like 6 feet maybe, I guess. I don't know. If I smidge it out, put a 9 inches on each side. I think that's probably going to give me the width that I'm looking for. And I think it'll be proportional because this is 12 feet long, this thing. So anyways, I like it. Pretty happy with it so far, assuming the axle and the wheels or the hubs hold up. But anyways, I'm going to force myself to stop working on it today and get at it again tomorrow. Here's the trailer so far, and I was thinking of using some 2x2 tubing to make some extensions to make the bed a little wider, and I decided to go with this 1/8 inch thick 2-inch angle iron. It's going to do a better job and be lighter. So now we're just going to weld this on, put these extensions in place, and more or less like this. So these ones are going to go flush with the top, and where I don't have like here, we're gonna actually notch them out, put them in a little bit more like that, so they make up that 1.5 inches. I'm gonna have cross pieces of 2x4 on the beams there that go across to raise the platform up, and then put the lengths of the wood down on those 2x4s. So, but here we don't have a cross piece, so I'm gonna create a little box around the wheel wells, and I'll do that with these. So let's get going on that. Well, here we are so far, and I'm kind of liking it. There we go. Why is my size not changing? So we got the extensions on. It's 72 inches from inside rail to inside rail here. And we're gonna put some boards across, 2x6s at the very front and the very back, 2x4s on these 3 cross members there, and then full length 12-foot 2x6s down the entire length of the trailer. And I'm trying to decide whether I like this height of the railing. It's 18 inches above the deck, so 19.5 above the frame. So I can see some big uses for that, but I'm also thinking it looks a little tall. Not that I'm really messing around over the side, but any taller I wouldn't be able to reach over. I did a little search online. It said anywhere from 13 inches to 24, so kind of picked halfway in there. That looks good. I like it. Got to make some adjustments to the posts. This one here in the middle, it's a little high. I don't know what I did there. Obviously I was not looking at the level. I might have to undo that one and cut the weld off and then re-weld it. Everything else looks good, and I'll put another bar across the front and a couple of pieces of either angle iron or 1.5 inch tubing coming up from these 2 points here to the front, and yeah, getting pretty close to being done. Then wiring, and gonna test these axles out somehow, make sure they're strong enough for what I want to do with this trailer. But yeah, probably would have been easier to just buy something that's close to what I wanted, but when do I ever do that? Okay, tomorrow, messing around with these railings. I'm hungry, I'm gonna go make dinner. Okay, this is my plan for the wheel wells. I think this is gonna work. So I've got these backing plates on there. I'm bolting them in to the trailer. I don't know if you can see that. Some M6 bolts in there. One on the front, one on the back, and then across the middle here, I'm gonna screw those into the boards that are gonna be on the base or the floor of the trailer. So this backing plate here will be secured to the boards. And I'm thinking about whether I want to box this in. I think for now I'm just going to leave it. So I was going to do a little framer on it. I think I'm just going to leave it for now. I can always add that in later. I want to get some paint on this sucker, and then I think the lights are coming in next week. I've got these from the original lights on the trailer, but I haven't tried them out. If they work, I'll use them and I'll send the other ones back. But I'm just going to get some Rust-Oleum semi-gloss or gloss black on here, and then get this painted. I think I am finally done building this thing. Well, I got to put it together, but got all the boards painted, got an exterior paint on all the areas of the boards I'm not going to really see, and then for the ends and the tops and sides, got them all painted black. Bed liner finish, I just painted it on. It's going to give it a little bit of a rough kind of wood grain look coating, but that'll be good for traction, I guess. But slippery enough, I'm sure. Oh darn, I left this outside last night. It's so damp out right now. So anyways, letting this dry. Then I think I'm gonna lay these boards down. I think I can probably screw them up from underneath. Kind of almost want to bolt them down like they were when I got the trailer. See, these lag bolts here are too big to go through the holes that are in the frame. But these drywall screws are, I think they're drywall screws. Whatever those screws are, the heads are a little too small. So I think if I got some bolts, drilled the holes just in a few of these, I'm not going to drill the holes in the angle iron, I'm just going to leave that. But if I put a bunch of holes in the frame here, or the boards, bolted them down like they were before, that was a bit of a hassle, but that'll create a good connection to the boards, from the cross boards to the trailer. And then I can just drive some drywall screws in each of these 5 cross members down through the top of the long boards and then into those frames. And I think that's going to hold everything together really well. So that's the next step, just waiting for this to dry, and then I'll decide whether I want to do with these bolts. I think there's probably going to be like 3 in each board, so I just need 15. That's not a big deal. I might even have some in here somewhere. Let me check. Who knows what's in there? Goodness gracious. Okay, coming along. I don't really like using carriage bolts in stuff like this, but I think these will work. I'll try it anyways. Just have a feeling these heads are going to spin too much in the wood. Not really what I want, but I have enough anyways. Okay, let's go over the trailer. We got this all done. I actually bought some new used wheels. These would probably been okay, but they're a little worn, and they're E-rated, so that's good. But the rims were a mess, and I didn't feel like doing a big refinish on them, so I just sanded them down with a wire comb brush on the drill, and then hit them with some bed liner. But I got these guys from a guy who was upgrading his tires. Treads are still in good shape, so happy with that. And then we've got the only issue with this is I got a D load range D on this side and a load range E on the other side. Didn't realize that when I was getting them, but that's a 65 pounds per PSI tire, and that one's going to be an 80. But anyways, we got the trailer all set, all the wiring's in. This license plate bracket was out here, and the license plate was there. When I was driving around on it, I could see the plate flexing in the wind, and I could just imagine something coming up off the road, taking that whole thing out, and then losing my plate, which would suck. So I relocated it just over to here, drilled it into the angle or the C channel, and then put some a license plate light up on top here, and then just put the ground into the frame, and Scotch connected the positive wire of the plate light into the running lights of the trailer, so it totally worked. So that's good. Just put these brackets in there for stability for the light. So I'm good. Now I just need to make some mounts for the spare tires, and I guess I can always throw them in the back of the pickup, but they're pretty big, so I think I'll make some mounts that are going to hang off either the front there, side by side, or off the side. I kind of don't really like the feeling of them being out onto the side, so I'm thinking side by side out here, like one here and one over there. And actually would create a bit of a block for things in the trailer, stop them from sliding forward. So I think that's what I'm going to do. Anyways, trailer came together pretty good. Got it licensed pretty quickly and easily, and yeah, I'm going to get a lot of use out of this, I'm sure.